they're taking up the offering, I just want to redeem the time, because what I want to do is, before we move into the next of this service, and those of you that come on Wednesday nights, you know the value that I place upon the people who every week show up here. And the value is that you help us to do the heavy lifting. You allow us to open doors that wouldn't be open. You allow us to create opportunities that wouldn't be created without you. And so we're unapologetic to fulfill what Jesus said when he said, "My Father's house will be called a house of prayer." Now, I just want to take a few moments, and before we move into what's next, I want to talk to you about why your prayers are important. You know, it's easy for us as individuals to think, well, so-and-so's prayers, they matter. Because we look at their lives and they will appear to have life together, and maybe on a level that we don't feel our life is together. And we can look and we can say, well, yeah, God would listen to them. But I want to talk to you about why your prayers matter and why they matter this particular evening. In Luke chapter 11, Jesus gives us the most elaborate communication piece that he ever gave on the subject of prayer. Now, there's many places that he talked, but this is the most elaborate, this is the most extensive communication that he ever gave on the subject of prayer. And it all started with a question from his disciples. And it was because these men had lived with Jesus, had walked with Jesus, and more importantly, had watched Jesus. And so as they began to look at Jesus, they asked this question. And the question was, Lord, teach us to pray. Teach us to pray. Now, that question to me is so intriguing, because I have a lot of questions I want to ask God. But that wouldn't be one of the questions I would ask him. If Jesus were physically present in my midst and I had an opportunity to ask a question, that wouldn't be number one for me. But the difference is that they had physically lived with Jesus, and they had observed that central to how he conducted his life was that he prayed. And so they had watched, because the results of his prayer were so amazing. And they wanted to know how to do it. So as he begins to teach them about prayer, he gives us probably the most famous prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And let us, and he goes into this elaborate communication. Now, those of you that know much about that prayer, what you know is this. There are 6 principles that he taught about you praying. We've talked about those many times. I've taught them. Pastor Jesse's taught them. And there are 6 principles in that prayer. But the interesting thing is that after he got past the daily bread, he said, forgive us our sins as we forgive everyone that is indebted to us, and lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. But he didn't stop there. 6 things in there that we should pray about our lives and how we function. But he moves on, and he immediately says, if you really want to know how to pray, you need to enlarge your circle of prayer beyond you. You need to take that circle of our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. He's talking about you praying the will of God in your life. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our sins as we forgive everyone who sinned against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. 6 practical things. But he doesn't stop there, and he just says, hey guys, I need you to enlarge your prayer circle. So he begins to articulate the value of praying for others. And the way he does it is he begins with a simple illustration, and he says, which of you having a friend? And what he's referring to is he says, if you learn to pray, one of the things is you've got to enlarge your prayer circle, because there's people that you care about, but even more than that, there are people that I care about. And those people that I care about, I want you to do something, because that word friend in this particular culture was more than just a digital acknowledgement. It was a statement of commitment and value. And he says, what I need you to understand is, I need you to understand that there are people you care about, and there are people that I care about, and because of that, I need your prayers. And as he began to talk about that, he says, which of you having a friend come at midnight, so it's inconvenient? Helping other people is always inconvenient. Helping other people never fits in our schedule. Helping other people is never something that naturally is scheduled. We can't give a 15-minute slot, okay, this is my help period, where whoever needs help, they've got to come. People who need help, they come at inconvenient times. They come when it doesn't fit our schedule best. They come when it isn't natural for us. And what he's saying is, can you care for people even when it's going to be inconvenient for you? And can you begin to step up, and can you begin to pray? But then the twist is that this individual doesn't have the wherewithal in themselves to help. Because all of us have people we care for, and we see people in the world that we want to care for, but we know we lack the provision and the resources to be able to manage that. And it says, so this man, this individual, goes on behalf of their friend and goes to someone who is resourced. And as they go to that individual that is resourced, they begin to ask for help. But this person's now being inconvenienced. They don't know your friend. They don't care like you care. They're not committed like you're committed. And because they don't care like you care and committed, they're saying, hey, I don't want to be bothered by this. And he says, but because of the persistence, this individual is going to begin to respond, and needs are going to. But then he goes on and uses this phrase, and this phrase is really what I want to talk to you about. Because after he tells this story and he says, hey, this is how you pray for yourself, our Father who art in heaven. But you need to enlarge your prayer circle to people you care about, because there are people that are your friends. They have needs, and you need to enlarge your prayer to help them have their needs met. And there's people I care about that I want you to enlarge your prayer circle that you can pray about. But then he turns around and he says, sometimes you're going to have to be persistent, because it's not one and done. You're not going to just pray one prayer and all of a sudden the problem's going to go away. Though we wished it would, and we wished it would happen, you're going to have to keep doing that. And so he goes on and he says this, anyone who asks. But then he says, anyone that seeks. And then he says, anyone that knocks. Now, the problem we have is we immediately assume the asking is for us, the seeking is for us, and the knocking's for us. But contextually, it's not for us. The us prayer was, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. That's the prayer for us. But now we're talking about praying for others. And what he's saying is, can you ask for others the way you want to ask for you? Can you ask diligently for others the way you want to ask for you? Can you go beyond the pleasantries? Oh, I'm going to pray for you. And he says, can you ask? Can you begin to ask for others? Can you begin to look at other people and can you begin to ask for them and say, okay, I'm going to ask for you with the same degree of passion that I want to ask for me? Because when it comes to our need, we're motivated for our need. When it comes to our issue, we're motivated for our issue. When it comes to our life, we're motivated for our life. We're motivated. We're all in. There's no sort of just mailing it in. We're all in. And he's saying, okay, you need to understand, everyone that asks, can you ask passionately for others the way you would ask for yourself? But then he turns around and he says this, but can you desire? Can you seek? Can you begin to seek for others when you ask? Because we all know that there's that Christian level of prayer. Oh, I'll pray for you. And it is nothing but a pleasantry that we articulate because that's what we're supposed to do, to articulate that we are a good Christian. But we're asking different than us, because when we ask, we're asking it with a heart of desire because we're seeking it. God, I got to have it. I got to have it. I've got to have it. I need this. This is mine. I need this for my life to be what you want it to be. I need this. And so what he's saying, can you ask for others the way you ask for yourself? Can you seek for others the way you seek for yourself? Now, it's easy to isolate those and say, I'm asking for me, I'm seeking for me, and I'm knocking for me. But contextually, this was still tied to the story. Which one of you have a friend? Do you care for someone enough that you're willing to ask for them? And can you care for them enough that you're willing to go past the pleasantries and you're willing to ask for them the way you ask for yourself? Hey, I've got to have this, God, I've got to have it. And then can you seek? Can you begin to have that same desire for them? God, I need this, God. My life is unfolding. I need it. And then can you knock? And really it's three things. Can you articulate for others? Can you desire for others? And can you give aggressive action on behalf of others? Because when you knock, sometimes there's that gentle knock, but sometimes to get a door open, you have to knock a little bit louder. The question is, can you pray for other people? Or is your prayer focused on a circle that is a great circle? It's just too small of a circle for God. God doesn't discard your circle. He doesn't discard your family. He doesn't discard your circumstances. It's just that God put you here for a bigger circle. Can you care about people who you know? And can you care about people that God knows? And can you ask for them the way you would ask for you? Can you desire for them the way you desire for you? And can you knock for them the way you knock for you? So tonight, that's what we're going to do. We're going to ask for others. We're going to seek for others. And we're going to knock for others. Some of them are your friends because they're people that you've asked us as this week is beginning to unfold. You've written their names down, and we're going to pray for them in a minute. But there are people that God cares for that we don't know that we're going to ask for. You know, we're unapologetic on Wednesday nights. We believe in the power of prayer. We do not apologize to anyone to do what we believe is fundamental to our Christian faith. We ask, and we'll keep asking, and we'll seek, and we'll keep seeking, and we'll knock, and we'll keep knocking. Because those are the imperatives that God gave us when it comes to people that we care for and that He cares for. So I want you to just get ready for prayer, because your prayers matter. Because it's one thing when one person asks, it's another thing when a lot of people ask. And it's one thing when one person seeks, and it's another thing when a lot of people seek. And it's one thing when one person knocks, and it's another thing when a lot of people knock. So tonight, we're going to ask, we're going to seek, and we're going to knock. Now, I'm going to walk you through exactly what we're going to seek, ask, and knock for. We're going to knock and seek for our Good Friday service. As I told the School of Leadership, I don't believe that anyone should ever come on Sundays who doesn't stop by the cross on Friday. As I like to put it, Jesus is dying to see you on Good Friday. And there's no schedule that you have that should keep you from seeing someone who's dying to see you. But we're going to pray for our Good Friday service.